painting time.
Jai, Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. Let us chant the Mangala Charanam. Anjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitanjena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Prabhupada. Last class. Oh my God, this is so bittersweet. All right, so we are on chapter 18 of the Bhagavad Gita. We're going to hear now the conversation has officially finished between Krishna and Arjuna. And now we're going to hear Sanjay's ecstatic reflections. Oh yeah, memorization verse. I almost forgot. Oh, let's do it. We'll do 1866. 1866 for one day only, I think. Sarvadharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Let's do it again. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Here's the song, it's very dramatic. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Do you want to try singing it together? Ready? This is our farewell to Bhagavad Gita song. Abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Haribo. Okay. You like a Bhakti choir? Bhakti choir. You just like yeah. All right, so text 74. Sanjaya uvacha ityaham vasudevasya partasya cha mahatmanaha samvadam imam ashosham adbhutam romaharshanam. Lagati?
Sanjay said, "Thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. And so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. Perfect. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra inquired from his secret secretary Sanjay what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The entire study was related to the heart of Sanjay by the grace of his spiritual master Vyasa. He thus explained the theme of the battlefield. The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would not take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity. Arjuna, a great devotee of the Lord. If we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Sanjay realized this, and as he began to understand it, he related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Now, it is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory.
Joy. Yeah. So iti aham vasudevasya of Krishna and partasya of Arjuna samvaram. So this samvada means the discussion or the conversation. So this is in hermeneutics we learn about the three different types of discussions, spiritual discussions. So those are jalpa, vitanda, and vada. So this one is vada, samvadam. Some means perfect or complete, or perfect and complete. It means it's the perfect and complete vada, or this spiritual discussion. So yeah, in contrast to the other two. So jalpa is a kind of discussion in which one person is very much attached to their point of view, like their philosophical perspective, and the goal of the conversation, so they're having a conversation with another person who is similarly very attached to their philosophical point of view, and then the two of them are debating, but they're just trying to establish their own point of view as the right one, right? So they're not really interested in finding out what the absolute truth is, even if it brings them closer to the truth. But they just want to win the argument, basically. So that's jalpa. Jalpa is not very productive because it's just based on like ego and, gets a little heated. So then it's kind of like when you have a debate, like a, what do they have then? Like a debate forum, like at school, you'd have like debate clubs and you get up there and debate, and it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, you have to like win the debate by being very convincing. So that's kind of like a jalpa scenario. So Vedic culture doesn't really encourage that, because Vedic culture is all that, Vedaischa sarvaraham eva vedya, that it's meant for knowing Krishna. So the conversations are meant to bring us closer to Krishna, to knowing more about Krishna and the philosophy that supports Krishna consciousness. So being right, being wrong, winning, losing, it doesn't matter. The point is we need to know Krishna. So, and then Vitanda is the other one. So Vitanda is see, in Jalpa, they're like equally matched, but they're just like at loggerheads. Whereas Vitanda, you get like a senior devotee, and then there's a junior devotee, and little junior devotee has some point of view that, maybe right or wrong, but in any case, it's in disagreement with the senior devotee, and then the senior devotee just uses their, like their clout and their seniority to basically just stomp on the younger devotees and newer person's argument. So it's more of a power thing. It's more about like power and control than it is about the absolute truth. So obviously both Jalpa and Vitanda are not recommended. And the reason that they're there is because they happen a lot, and we should be able to identify those as unhealthy conversations and steer away from those kinds of conversations. And what we want to move towards and engage in is Vada, which means where there's two or more people, and they're really just want to find out that what is the truth. They want to know Krishna. They want to know what is philosophically correct. And there may be some controversial point, and they may come in with topic, but they're open. They just want to find out what is the truth. And if it means that they have to admit that, their previous opinion was either wrong or skewed or partial or whatever, then they're happy, because they want to know they want to know the right thing. So if they come to understand that what they had previously thought was right is wrong, then they're happy, right? Because if you're like trying to get from point A to point B and you're going the wrong way, and someone says, hey, that place you're trying to get is actually the other direction, you're like happy. You're not going to be arguing like, who are you to tell me anything? I'm going this way, right? It's like you want to get to your destination. So it's less about me and my ego and my way, and it's more about like, we need to get somewhere and we need the knowledge to get back to Krishna. So you can see here that this Bhagavad Gita is a good example of Vada, because there are some points where Arjuna has doubts, right? And he expresses his doubts, but he inquires humbly and submissively, and he listens with an open heart, and he thinks about it deeply, and he asks a few more questions. And Krishna explains very nicely. And Krishna also, he's not just stomping on his head and being like, I'm God, you need to shut up and listen. But he's explaining things, and he's explaining it from different, points of view. Like when he's talking about the soul, he says, that he gives examples like, just as the soul goes from childhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly. So he's giving some relatable examples, or like putting on, just like a person takes off old worn out clothes and puts on new clothes, the soul similarly leaves and accepts new material bodies. And then he says, but even if you think that there's no soul and that we're just these bodies, but still it's not a reason to limit, because the body anyways is going to die. So you kind of like, you can see how Krishna, he's giving different points of view. If you think this, then understand it this way. And if you think that way, then let's approach it, another point of view. And like, we can look at it from all different perspectives and still come up with the same conclusion. And then even at the end, after answering all of Arjuna's questions, Krishna says, okay, Arjuna, now you deliberate on this fully and decide what you want to do. He doesn't try to force him to come to any particular conclusion. He's just kind of like, well, if you accept this, then that's what's going to happen. If you reject it, then that's what's going to happen. And it's up to you. You make your own choice. So Krishna consciousness is one of our principles there of Krishna house values, is icha, which means choice, right? So we can tell people, if you want to live in Krishna house, this is what it is. These are the rules. This is the program. You can choose to follow the program, or you can choose to live somewhere else, like no one's forcing you to do anything. This is all about your choice and how you want to live your life. And yeah, we're here for you if you want to do things the way that we do things here. So yeah, so this is a good samvad. So this is something we can be conscious about in our conversations with other devotees, especially controversial topics. If things get heated, somebody's like just way too attached to their point of view, and even though you may they're not able to listen to your perspective, and they're just basically shutting you down and stuff, then it's not a hell. It's just like, don't engage with that person. Yeah. Or but also if that person is actually right and you're not open to listening to them, then that's also, you're not going to get anywhere with that, right? There's no use just being attached to our beliefs, which could be wrong. So it should be, the general things are everyone listens and is open and thinks, in a open-minded way, and is ready to embrace the truth, no matter what it looks like. Okay, that's philosophical search for truth. That's what we're supposed to be doing as human beings, is just philosophically searching for the absolute truth. Okay, so, and Sanjay he said that just listening to this conversation was so ecstatic that his hair is standing on end. He says, Roma Harshanam. Adbhutam, he's going to repeat this word. Adbhutam means wonderful or astonishing, amazing. And it's just so amazing that it's making so mystical, so amazing. It's like, oh my God, your hair stands on end. So after hearing Bhagavad Gita, that's what Sanjay is experiencing. Yeah. And Prabhupada says here that if we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. So we'll also have this kind of life that's very ecstatic, that our hairs are standing on end. And as we become more purified, then when we read Bhagavad Gita, also our hairs will be standing on end in ecstasy. If our hairs are not standing on end right now, then we didn't get absorbed enough in this wonderful conversation as Sanjay did. Okay, so let's go to the next verse. Yan etad guhyam aham param yogam yogeshvarat krishnat sakshat katayata swayam. Read, Daniel. Vyas.
Vyas was the spiritual master of Sanjay, and Sanjay admits that it was by Vyasa's mercy that he could understand the subject personality of Godhead. This means that one has to understand Krishna not directly, but through the medium of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is a transparent medium, although it is true that the experience is still direct. This is the mystery of the cyclic succession. When the spiritual master is bona fide, then one can hear Bhagavad Gita directly as Arjuna heard it. There are many mystics and yogis all over the world, but Krishna is the master of all yoga systems. Krishna's instruction is explicitly stated in the Bhagavad Gita: surrender unto Krishna. One who does so is the topmost yogi. This is confirmed in the last verse of the 6th chapter, Yoginam Api Sarvesham. Narada is a direct disciple of Krishna and the spiritual master of Vyas. Therefore, Vyas is as bona fide as Arjuna because it comes from the disciplic succession. Sanjay is the direct disciple of Vyas. Therefore, by the grace of Vyas, Sanjay's senses were purified. He could see and hear Krishna directly. One who directly hears Krishna can understand this confidential knowledge. If one does not come to the disciplic succession, he cannot hear Krishna. Therefore, his knowledge is always imperfect, at least as far as understanding the Bhagavad Gita is concerned. In Bhagavad Gita, all the systems.
Yana.
Is to be understood, however, that as Arjuna was fortunate enough to understand Krishna directly, so by the grace of Vyasa, Sanjay was also able to hear Krishna directly. Actually, there is no difference between hearing directly from Krishna and hearing directly from Krishna via a bona fide spiritual master like Vyasa. The spiritual master is the representative of Vyas today. Also, therefore, according to the Vedic system, on the birthday of the spiritual master, the disciples conduct the ceremony called Vyasa.
Jai. All right. Yeah. So Sanjay, he's expressing his gratitude. He's acknowledging that it was only by the mercy of his spiritual master Vyasadeva that he was able to hear this conversation. He was able to witness this whole thing. So yeah, we heard about in the beginning that Sanjay was a disciple of Vyasadeva and he had pleased his guru, and Vyasadeva had bestowed upon him this ability to be able to like have, extra sensory perception. And so from sitting in the room there in the palace in Hastinapur, he was able to see and hear what was going on hundreds or 1,000 miles away at Kurukshetra. And everything perfectly. So he's thinking, oh, my Vyasa Prasadat, that by the mercy, this is the mercy of my guru, just like we say, Yasya Prasada, Bhagavad Prasada, Yasya Prasada, Nagati Katopi, that by the mercy of the spiritual master, we get the mercy of Krishna, and without the mercy of the spiritual master, we can't attain the goal. We don't make any spiritual advancement. So this is a good example of this, that by the mercy of Vyas, he was able to have this amazing experience, this amazing spiritual experience, and become, get direct association with Krishna. And that's the whole principle of guru, is that the guru is like a bridge to Krishna. And by the mercy of the spiritual master, we get an actual, Prabhupada says, direct connection to Krishna through the guru. It's not that Arjuna was directly with Krishna and we're indirectly with Krishna, but through the mercy of the guru, we can actually, it's non-different from contacting Krishna directly. He says in the last paragraph that actually there is no difference between hearing directly from Krishna and hearing directly from Krishna via a bona fide spiritual master like Vyas. The spiritual master is the representative of Vyasadeva also. Yeah. Mhm. So this is really like the power of the disciplic succession. The power of disciplic succession. So if we flip back here to the last page of the introduction. Just before chapter 1. So they have the 32 most prominent links in the chain of disciplic succession that we are in. So it starts off with Krishna, and then Krishna imparts knowledge into the heart of Brahma. Brahma instructs Narada, and Narada instructs Vyas. So Vyas also instructs Madhva, but he also instructs Sanjay, right? All of these, like Narada has many disciples, Brahma has many disciples, they all have many disciples. Yeah, so Sanjay was a disciple of Vyasa. He was connected in a bona fide chain of disciplic succession, and therefore he was able to hear Krishna. Right? Prabhupada says that if somebody is not, where is it? He says, he says somewhere here that if somebody is not connected to the disciplic succession, then they're not able to hear Krishna. It's here. One who directly hears Krishna can understand this confidential knowledge. If one does not come to the disciplic succession, he cannot hear Krishna. Therefore, his knowledge is always imperfect, at least as far as understanding Bhagavad Gita is concerned. So yeah, Prabhupada is talking about these, commentators that study Bhagavad Gita and they write their own commentaries, but they're not actually hearing Krishna. They're reading it, but they're not. It's kind of like, sometimes maybe the parents are talking to children and they're like saying something important, and they're saying, are you hearing me? Are you listening? And the child's like, yeah, I'm here, I heard you. But they hear, but they don't hear. Right? Like they're hearing, but they have their own thing in mind that is not what the parent is saying, and they're going to do that. And they don't really care. Like they're hearing the words, but it's not registering in the heart. They're not internalizing the message. They're just hearing and then twisting and doing whatever they want. So that's what these interpreters do. They kind of like hear, but they don't hear. Just like there's one verse in the Bhagavatam that says, Pashyam api na pashyati, that people see, but they don't see. In other words, they're living in the world and they're seeing that, every day so many people are dying. Everything that's being built is being destroyed in due course of time, but they're thinking they're going to live forever. They're thinking that their work will, their achievements will be eternal. So everybody said Pashyan apina pashiti. They're seeing, but they're not seeing the nature of this world. So in the same way, it's possible to hear, but not hear. So that's what these interpreters, they don't come into service. So they read the Bhagavad Gita, they hear Bhagavad Gita, but they, even though they speak the language, but they just don't get the message. What their minds are telling them is too loud. It's like drowning out the actual message of Krishna. So they take the words of Krishna and they use it to promote their own message. So yeah, that's what Prabhupada's referring to here.
Is this like who wrote the Bhagavad Gita?
What's that?
Papers? The person who wrote Bhagavad Gita?
Who wrote Bhagavad Gita?
Mahabharata. Yeah, it's like it was written with Mahabharata.
Yeah, Vyasadeva.
So he gave to Sanjay, and then he himself wrote Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata.
Yeah, because he was also seeing everything. I mean, Vyas, if he had the power to let
Okay.
somebody else see, obviously he could see it too.
Yeah.
That's the power. And also Vyasa is one of these, I mean, he's a Shakti Avesh avatar of the Lord. He's considered the literary incarnation of Krishna. He's empowered to compile Vedic literature. And he's also considered Trikalagya, which means he can see past, present, and future. And there's some great souls that are like that. They have that knowledge of past, present, and future. So even before this happened, Vyasadeva knew that this was going to happen. And then, yeah, he also was able to see there.
Or disciplic succession.
No, not everyone.
I was also thinking there's only two Goswami's names written Rupa in the disciplic succession.
There's only what?
Only two names are written, like Rup and
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, the thing about this disciplic
Rupa.
succession, as it's written here, it's not all of the acharyas. Right? It's just some prominent ones. Like I said, all of these names, personalities listed here, they all had many disciples, and their disciples had many disciples, and they had many god brothers also, who also had disciples. Very kind of unilateral, like just unistream or whatever you call it, unirail. But actually, it's very more, it's branched out all over the place. I'm not sure. Really not sure where Srila Prabhupada got this from, if he got it from his guru or where he got it from. Like, who decided who was prominent? Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. Yeah,
Is it amount of disciples? Quality of teaching, is it?
the influence, maybe the influence.
For
Contributions also good.
Yeah. Because what these links to disciplic succession do is they uphold the religious principles of the disciplic succession. So to the ones who really like very prominently upheld the principles and established them very solidly, and defeated deviant philosophies and taught others very well and thoroughly and like that. Most of these wrote books, songs, most of them wrote quite a lot. Yeah, they're very powerful in their example and their teachings and their achievements and their influence, and basically dedicated their lives basically to upholding the disciplic succession. Yeah.
Are there gonna be more gurus added to the list since it's going down the chain?
Yeah. Yeah, I always wondered about that because, here, of course, Srila Prabhupada wrote this, so he put his name there. But now in ISKCON, we have many gurus. So I don't think in ISKCON, we're not going to choose one, So I don't know how that's going to work going forward.
But wouldn't that technically break the cyclic succession if we didn't choose one and continue to record it? Because if we don't record it, then how will we know it's not being broken for the next
Yeah.
generations?
Well, I think what will happen is, see, whoever you or whoever, whether it's your Diksha Guru, your Shiksha Guru, the person in your life who is your most prominent guru, then for you, that will be your link. So like, you know, let's say Drishta, right? So for his disciplic succession, number 33 is going to be Kalakanta Prabhu. And then Drishta Dumna. And then after that, Drishta is going to have his disciples are going to put Drishta Dumna, Kalakanta Prabhu, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Right, Drishta? So yeah, Prabhupada put his guru and his guru's guru and like that. So each one of us, because yeah, disciplic succession, like I said, there's many branches and each one of these has many god brothers. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had many disciples. So nowadays, if you go to a temple that's not an ISKCON temple, like go to India and go to a temple, so we'll see they have, you know how we have the pictures, you have like Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, Gaurkishore, and then like just it goes on the altar, he puts a picture of Kalakanta Prabhu there, right? So then we go to these Gaudiya Math temples now, like the newer temples. So they'll have, you know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaurkishoras Babaji, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then they'll have their guru, who is a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then, or maybe their Param Guru, and then his disciple who they got initiated by. And they'll have the pictures there on the altar. So we'll see that the pictures are the same up until Bhaktisiddhanta Srila Prabhupada followers. They're a follower of Prabhupada's god brother, so they have his picture there and then his disciple and like that.
That's fine.
Not wrong. No. It's just-
the difference between the teachings of Prabhupada
Not so much.
I think it's not about teaching, it's about whom you are getting the knowledge. Like Drishta got it from Kalaganta Prabhu, so his link is Kalaganta Prabhu and Prabhupada. So their link is the Prabhupada's god brother and
The essential message is the same. What will be different is more like the mood. Right? Like Srila Prabhupada's mood was like expand Krishna consciousness, spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, because that's the mission that he got from his guru. And then other disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they're not so much into sharing Krishna consciousness with others, but they're more about like just, you know, sort of, you know, read about Krishna's pastimes and relish them and, you know, meditate on them and that kind of thing. So there's different ways, because there's 9 different processes of devotional service, and then some, even in ISKCON, you know, some gurus have a certain mood, other gurus have more, some are liberal, some are more conservative. So then the line coming from a very conservative guru is going to be like a conservative line, right? A line coming from liberal guru is most likely going to be a liberal line. But the essential teachings, what we call the Siddhanta, the conclusive essential teachings, can't change. Otherwise it becomes a deviation. But it's okay if there's a different mood to how you practice and what aspects of the practice of Krishna consciousness you emphasize or prioritize.
What is this Siddhanta made?
There's like 10 principal tenets. It's just basic stuff like Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, the source of all incarnations, and that we are not God, but we're Jiva Tattva, we're servants of God eternally, that Maya is the external energy of Krishna that bewilders conditioned souls in this world, and that bhakti is the process for freeing ourselves from the influence of Maya and reestablishing our loving relationship with Krishna, that the goal of life is love for Krishna, and like that. So it's basically like, those are 5 of the 10. It's basic principles. So no one's going to disagree. You know, like Prabhupada's God brothers or, you know, other ISKCON gurus, no one's going to say that, no, that's wrong. Krishna is not God, or the goal is not love of God, or we are not servants of God, or Maya is not Krishna's illusory energy. Everyone's going to agree on those fundamental points of Siddhanta.
I see, but the other ones are kind of up for discussion.
Other ones, what?
The other teachings?
I mean, most of what the teachings are just supporting those principles of Siddhanta. What could differ is just the mood, right? Or details. For example, whether you need to wear like dhoti and tilak when you go out on Sankirtan, or whether you can just wear normal clothes and have hair and, like that. Or, whether your morning program starts at 4:30 in the morning or 6. Those are details. But everybody's going to chant. Yeah, another Siddhanta is that in this age of Kali, chanting Hare Krishna is the principal practice. So no one's going to disagree on that. No one's going to be like, all right, we don't need to chant Hare Krishna. We can chant some other mantra. No one's going to change that. But it may be that, we chant different songs or prayers along with Hare Krishna mantra. Okay. So, yeah. The disciplic succession is very important. So the spiritual master says the transparent medium means that transparent means like the window, right? You look through it and you see the thing. So spiritual master is like, they don't obscure Krishna. They're like they give us a clear vision of Krishna. They don't change the teachings in a way that is not what Krishna gave us. That's what they mean by transparent.
And it's like, they're giving different things sometimes, like, not saying that when they are fully like can be Krishna correct, but like, can a spiritual master say like, I don't know, just be like extra hungry or something one day and just kind of like snap at you and be like, oh wait, let me go like chant some japa and then come back and like share some like intense like spiritual discussion with you, and you're like, whoa, mind blown, but also like maybe eat more food. Can that happen?
Yeah, so I mean, the err is human, and spiritual masters can sometimes. Yeah. Also, the spiritual masters at different levels, right? It's like Srila Prabhupada was, Nitya Siddha that came from the spiritual world. And then there are other spiritual masters who are like, conditioned souls who practice bhakti and get purified and, come to the state of pure devotional service. Maybe they still have some residual lingering anarthas that sometimes manifest.
What was the type of
They're called Nitya Siddha, means eternally liberated. Like Srila Prabhupada, he wasn't like a conditioned soul that worked his way up the bhakti ladder, but he like is a pure eternal associate of Krishna who descended from the spiritual world for the sake of, saving all of us. Like same as Jesus Christ was also like that.
like maybe him and Jesus were cowherd boys?
I mean, I wouldn't speculate like that, but they were,
Specifically,
yeah.
like, just like that close of an associate, I mean.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were like best friends in the spiritual world. They could come from like different, there's so many different spiritual planets in the spiritual sky. They could be from different spiritual planets even, right? Because, what they taught was, and the way they taught was very different. So, Jesus didn't talk about Radha and Krishna. So he might have been from Vaikuntha or something, from one of the Vaikuntha planets.
He's also in a very they've gotten killed a lot better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Better don't speculate about it. But suffice it to say that they're both eternally liberated souls who are sent by the Lord to help us get ourselves back home, back to Godhead. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to text 76. Rajan samsmritya samvadam imam adbhutam keshavarjunayo punyam vishami cha muhur muhur. Who we got out there? Arjuna, are you able to read?
I'll read the next one.
Okay. How about you, Aruna? Aruna's probably busy. And Divya?
Hi, Bill Prabhupada Priya. Sorry, I disconnected for a second. I just missed what you were saying.
Okay. Do you want to read text 76?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me just get there. Yes. O King, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. The understanding of Bhagavad Gita is so transcendental that anyone who becomes conversant with the topics of Arjuna and Krishna becomes righteous, and he cannot forget such talks. This is the transcendental position of spiritual life. In other words, one who hears the Gita from the right source, directly from Krishna, attains full Krishna consciousness. The result of Krishna consciousness is that one becomes increasingly enlightened, and he enjoys life with a thrill, not only for some time, but at every moment.
Jai. Yeah, so we can see here that Sanjay is getting very ecstatic, and he's like repeating himself. In the Sanskrit, he says, samsmritya, samsmritya, and then he says, muhur, muhur, again and again, remembering this samvadam, adbhutam, this amazing conversation between Keshava and Arjuna again and again. My hairs are standing on end. I'm taking pleasure at every moment. So he's just like, yeah. And Krishna says that this is the result of Krishna consciousness, that we become increasingly enlightened and we enjoy life with a thrill. Because he's saying, Sanjay is saying, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. The Prabhupada says, we also become Krishna conscious. Even we'll come to a point where we'll enjoy life with a thrill, not only for some time, but at every moment. So that's what we have to look. Not just, peaceful or happy, or that we have some insight or understanding or a nice perspective on the world, but life is thrilling. It's exciting. It's enlivening. It's ecstatic. Right? Okay, text 77 is similar. Tachcha samsmritya rupam ati adbhutam hare vismayo me mahan rajan vishyami cha puna punaha. Okay, Arjuna. Ready? You ran away. Arjuna. Oh, Arjuna. Okay, go ahead, Pragati.
Sorry, I'm here.
Oh, okay, just in the nick of time. Go ahead.
I
then.
was you, but I just kind of called from work, so I was wrapping it up.
Okay.
Okay.
77.
77. O King, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. Purport. It appears that Sanjaya also, by the grace of Vyasa, could see the universal form, Krishna, exhibited to Arjuna. It is, of course, said that Lord Krishna had never exhibited such a form before. It was exhibited to Arjuna only, yet some great devotees could also see the universal form of Krishna when it was shown to Arjuna, and Vyasa was one of them. He is one of the great devotees of the Lord, and he is considered to be a powerful incarnation of Krishna. Vyasa disclosed this to his disciple Sanjaya, who remembered that wonderful form of Krishna exhibited to Arjuna and enjoyed it repeatedly.
Yeah, so you see this verse is like, he's again repeating, right? Before in text 76, he says, Rajan samsmitya, and here he says, Tachcha samsmitya. And there he said, Hrishyami cha muhur, and here he's saying, Hrishyami cha punaha. And muhu and punaha mean the same thing, again and again and again and again. So, yeah. But the last verse, he was talking about samvadam imam adbhutam, this amazing, astonishing conversation. And here he's talking about rupam ati adbhutam hare, the amazing, and not just adbhutam, amazing, but ati adbhutam. Ati means extremely, exceptionally very, very amazing. What? Rupa means the form of Hare, of Krishna. So Prabhupada says he's referring to the universal form. So he's saying, my God, when I remember that universal form that I saw with all the forms and the demigods and the energies and the universe and the planets and the forests and the oceans and everything all in one place. Oh my God, that was just like epic, right? Beyond epic. It was Ati Adbhutam. It was extremely astonishing. And when I think of that, I just, yeah, Rishyami. I rejoice again and again. It's thrilling. It's like a thrilling memory. Hair's standing on end when he remembers it. So Prabhupada says that it was exhibited to Arjuna, but some great devotees could also see the universal form. So Sanjay saw it. Prabhupada says Vyasadeva saw it. So Vyasa was also seeing everything. Vyasadeva saw it. And there are other, maybe some select demigods that were able to see it, not all of them, depending on their qualifications, because some demigods are more pure than others. So those demigods that are more materialistic, they wouldn't be able to see it. Because remember, Krishna had to even give Arjuna the eyes. Yeah. Okay, so Sanjay is very
Thanks for
ecstatic.
calling
and
Walter's Hospitality. How may I assist you?
Mhm. All right, let's go to text 78. So now this is the last verse. And now see the whole point of the whole purpose of Bhagavad, the whole, the what do you call it? The trigger, what triggered the Bhagavad Gita is that Dhritarashtra asked Sanjay, like, what's happening there on the battlefield? Who's going to win? Basically, he wants to know who's going to win. Are my sons going to win, or are the Pandavas going to win? So now, after hearing all this and seeing all this and seeing universal form, hearing the conversation, hearing Arjuna deciding, I'm going to fight, I'm going to give this my best. Then now Sanjay is going to tell poor old Dhritarashtra what's going to happen. And not very directly, but kind of like, in a roundabout way. So he says, Yatra Yogeshvara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shir Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Okay, Pragati. This is a long one.
Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion.
I just paused there. So he's basically saying, look, Krishna and Arjuna are both there. They're on the same side. They're on the same chariot. They're fighting together. And Krishna is Yogeshvara. He's the controller of all mystic powers. Arjuna is Dhanurdhara, the supreme archer. And wherever those two are together, basically get the kingdom and all of the opulence of the kingdom. There's going to be victory. They're going to defeat all of your evil-minded sons. Extraordinary power. They're going to regain the power and the rule of the world. And morality. They're going to defeat, your immoral sons and reestablish the kingdom on the basis of morals and religious principles. So yeah, he's not directly saying, your sons are going to lose, but he's basically saying it. Okay, go ahead.
Purport. The Bhagavad Gita began with an inquiry of Dhritarashtra. He was hopeful of the victory of his sons, assisted by great warriors like Bhishma, Drona, and Karna. He was hopeful that the victory would be on his side, but after describing the scene on the battlefield, Sanjay told the king, "You are thinking of victory, but my opinion is that where Krishna and Arjuna are present, there will be all good fortune." He directly confirmed that Dhritarashtra could not expect victory for his side. Victory was certain for the side of Arjuna because Krishna was there. Krishna's acceptance of the post of charioteer for Arjuna was an exhibition of another opulence. Krishna is full of all opulences, and renunciation is one of them. There are many instances of such renunciation, for Krishna is also the master of renunciation. The fight was actually between Duryodhana and Yudhishthir. Arjuna was fighting on behalf of his elder brother, Yudhishthir, because Krishna and Arjuna were on the side of Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir's victory was certain. The battle was to decide who would rule the world, and Sanjay predicted that the power would be transferred to Yudhishthir. It is also predicted here that Yudhishthir, after gaining victory in this battle, would flourish more and more because not only was he righteous and pious, but he was also a strict moralist. He never spoke a lie during his life. There are many less intelligent persons who take Bhagavad Gita to be a discussion of topics between two friends on a battlefield. But such a book cannot be scripture. Some may protest that Krishna incited Arjuna to fight, which is immoral, but the reality of the situation is clearly stated. Bhagavad Gita is the supreme instruction in morality. The supreme instruction of morality is stated in the 9th chapter in the 34th verse, Man mana bhava mad bhakta. One must become a devotee of Krishna, and the essence of all religion is to surrender unto Krishna. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita constitute the supreme process of religion and of morality. All other processes may be purifying and may lead to this process, but the last instruction of the Gita is the last word in all morality and religion. Surrender unto Krishna. This is the verdict of the 18th chapter.
Just pause there for a second. So yeah, Prabhupada is saying, what is morality? And he's saying that, the supreme instruction of morality is man mana bhava man bhakta. Just become a devotee of Krishna and surrender to Krishna. Because if we don't become devotees of Krishna, then even though we may try to be kind and generous and fair and all those things, but it's in one sense it's not really moral, because the right thing to do is to recognize that everything that exists is Krishna's energy. Everything belongs to Krishna, and everything should be used in Krishna's service. And to, take something, to take Krishna's property and use it for ourselves without acknowledging him, without first offering it to him, without, thanking him, it's immoral, right? It's like stealing somebody else's property. So Prabhupada raises that point previously in one of the earlier chapters that, when we take things for ourselves without first offering to Krishna, then it's like we're being thieves. And if you're a thief, like, how can you be peaceful? And if you're not peaceful, how can you be happy? So morality means recognizing who owns everything and what the purpose of everything is, and using things for the purpose, and using things in the right way and according to the desire of the actual owner. So and also morality means acting according to our own purpose for ourselves, because we are also, Krishna's energies. Our bodies are also Krishna's, they also belong to Krishna. So surrendering Krishna's property to Krishna, right? Like, Krishna, I'm yours. This body is yours. My energy is yours. Everything that I have. Manasa deha geha yokichu more arpulun tu apade Nanda Kishore. That's a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He says that my mind, my house, my body, everything, Krishna, is yours. So I just use everything for you. That's the ultimate reality. That's the ultimate morality. And Prabhupada says that other processes may be the last morality, the last word in all morality and religion is surrender to Krishna. Everything's Krishna. Everything is for Krishna's service, including my very self. And then there's also a link between these concepts, because so when we have that morality, then what happens is we get extraordinary power. Because when Krishna sees that we're using everything properly, then he empowers us with more and more things to use properly in his service, right? Like if someone is, every time you give them something, they misuse it, then you're not going to be inclined to give them things. You're not going to give them power. You're not going to give them authority, position, freedom, resources, right? But if every time you give somebody something, they just use it exactly the way that you want it to be used, and they just do it really, with a nice mood and very efficiently and effectively, you're going to give them more and more resources, more and more authority, more and more power. So when we have this morality that Krishna, I'm yours, and everything I do is for you, then Krishna empowers us to do more and more things, and he provides us, he facilitates our service. And then due to that empowerment, we get victory. We'll be victorious. Like our endeavors will be successful. Like Srila Prabhupada, right? Everything that he did was for Krishna, and Krishna gave him so many resources, and Prabhupada was so victorious in establishing temples and making a huge contribution, right? Giving Maya a big kick in the face. And then from that victory comes opulence, right? So for the Pandavas, because of their adherence to religious principles, they were empowered by the Lord, they were victorious, they won the battle, and they achieved great opulence, right? They got the whole kingdom. So this also applies to us in our own lives, right? When we surrender to Krishna, to serve Krishna, we become empowered, we become victory in the battle against Maya, and we get the opulence of the greatest treasure, which is pure love for Krishna, right? That's the greatest treasure. It's not money, although some people think. It's not property. It's not whatever. It's love for Krishna. So, okay, you want to continue reading?
From Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that to realize oneself by philosophical speculation and by meditation is one process, but to fully surrender unto Krishna is the highest perfection. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. The path of regulative principles according to the orders of social life and according to the different courses of religion may be a confidential path of knowledge, but although the rituals of religion are confidential, meditation and cultivation of knowledge are still more confidential. And surrender unto Krishna in devotional service and full Krishna consciousness is the most confidential instruction. That is the essence of the 18th chapter. Another feature of Bhagavad Gita is that the actual truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. The absolute truth is realized in three features: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Perfect knowledge of the absolute truth means perfect knowledge of Krishna. If one understands Krishna, then all the departments of knowledge are part and parcel of that understanding. Krishna is transcendental, for he is always situated in his internal potency. The living entity are manifested of his energy and are divided into two classes: eternally conditioned and eternally liberated. Such living entities are innumerable, and they are considered fundamental parts of Krishna. Material energy is manifested into 24 divisions. The creation is affected by eternal time, and it is created and dissolved by external energy. This manifestation of the cosmic world repeatedly becomes visible and invisible.
Prabhupada's, he's giving like a summary of all the topics of Bhagavad Gita.
In Bhagavad Gita, 5 principal subject matters have been discussed: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, material nature, the living entities, eternal time, and all kinds of activities. All is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. All conceptions of the absolute truth, impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and any other transcendental conception exist within the category of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although superficially the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity, material nature, and time appear to be different, nothing is different from the Supreme. But the Supreme is always different from everything. Lord Chaitanya's philosophy is that of inconceivable oneness and difference. The system of philosophy constitutes perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. The living entity in his original position is pure spirit. He is just like an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Thus, Lord Krishna may be compared to the sun and the living entities to sunshine. Because the living entities are the material energy of Krishna. Marginal energy of Krishna. They have a tendency to be in contact either with the material energy or with the spiritual energy. In other words, the living entity is situated between the two energies of the Lord, and because he belongs to the superior energy of the Lord, he has a particle of independence. By proper use of that independence, he comes under the direct order of Krishna. Thus, he attains his normal condition in the pleasure giving potency. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of its conclusion, the perfection of renunciation.
Jai.
Haribo.
Haribo. And see, Prabhupada, I didn't realize this before, but actually, when I was giving a class for the Toronto group, I think it was the day before Radhastami that we finished Bhagavad Gita. We also read the whole thing all together like this. And I realized that Srila Prabhupada ends the Bhagavad Gita with Radharani. Because thus he attains his normal condition in the pleasure-giving potency. Who's the pleasure-giving potency?
Radharani.
Hladini Shakti, Srimati Radharani. So when we follow the Bhagavad Gita and we use our independence to serve Krishna under the order of Krishna, coming from Bhagavad Gita, through the Guru, through the cyclic succession, then we attain the shelter of Srimati Radharani and regain our position of eternal service to her in Goloka. Haribol. That's our normal condition. Right now, we're in a very abnormal condition in this material world, getting old and getting sick and getting hurt and dying. That is not normal for the soul. So we have a bright future in Krishna consciousness, and we should be very thrilled about this at every moment. And Krishna consciousness becomes more and more thrilling every day. Okay, that was a journey. Any reflections on the completion of the Bhagavad Gita? Pragati, you've been here like from beginning to end, like every day practically, right? Maybe you missed like 2 days.
So when I started, I asked you how much time do we take? So you said at least 1 year, and I thought, oh my God, will I stay?
How long did it actually take us?
It is. We started in November. When you came back, after you came back from India.
From India.
Yeah.
We started from the beginning, from chapter 1.
January.
Okay. We started in January. So then
when
it took us 8 months. Not bad, 8 months. Oh yeah. You came, you went, you came back. Very good.
I could not believe you read the whole Bhagavad Gita.
Like out loud with comments and discussion and questions and right? Mm. Yeah, and that's what, Sanjay is saying, that he's like feeling so much pleasure, he's relishing transcendental ecstasy. Why? Because he's coming in contact with the pleasure-giving potency. Says Aruna. Okay, Jai. Well, we'll wrap it up here then. Bhagavad Gita. Oh,
I want to say that I'm very much grateful to Prabhupada Priya and Prabhupada to actually explain this up, because there is no way we could ever go into this deep and we could understand this part. Like still we could not understand the whole part, but whatever
something
that goes.
You got maybe a little more than if you just read it on your own, right?
I feel the discussions were like sometimes I could not think that way how you are explaining. Those are discussions.
Yeah, discussion helps a lot. Yeah.
Different
Spiritual discussion is such a good thing. So much comes out from the discussion.
I'm
All
also
right.
grateful. Haribol.
Oh, Jai, thank you, Arjuna.
Yeah, I
So,
think we know that as times evolve, and the understanding not necessarily changes, but just requires a different language for people in the common era to understand. We require knowledgeable speakers to be able to, take the knowledge that Prabhupada gives and just makes it very, approachable and attainable. And you've done that.
thank you.
Thank you
Now
so
this
much,
is-
Prabhupada Priya. From the bottom of my heart, I cannot believe that we read Bhagavad Gita from beginning to end with you. I'm very much thankful for you.
cover to cover.
Yes.
Word to word.
This is probably the second, and we even read the Sanskrit. This is probably the second time Drista has done this with me, right, Drista? Have I done it twice since reading that one? Oh, really?
Oh,
That's nice. Okay. Yeah, it's always nice to read the Bhagavad Gita again and again. Punaha, punaha.
so that Shane we can get the understanding.
Yeah. Like Sanjay says, he relishes it again and again. So, again and again. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh, now we have a request by Señorita Pragatita to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah, but we don't have so many newcomers here. So how are we gonna do it? Should we read just the translations or the purports also? Maybe just translations. Pragdi's saying no.
We should read purpose also. Like it may take time, but whatever we will get into, we'll get it complete and fully and deeply.
Yeah, otherwise we're just gonna gloss over it and it's already
Mhm.
complicated. It's already pretty dense, yeah, okay. So let's just see how far we get with that. Yay, just is gonna actually start paying attention.
Prabhupada Priya ki.
Haribo. You know, there are many devotees in our movement who have never read the whole CC. Gotta change that. All right, charity starts at home. Let's do it. I've read it twice, cover to cover, but I haven't read it like aloud with others. I've just read it on my own. So I'll be excited. This is gonna be exciting. Okay, let's see who's out there on YouTube. We got Gator. Hi, says Gator. Do you read the chats? Only at the very end. Can I ask how to chant properly? Well, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and chant attentively and hear the sound vibration and call out to Krishna like a child calling out for mother. That Krishna, here I'm lost in this world, totally dependent on you. Please save me. Yeah. Bharat Kshir Sagar asks, who was Krishna's wife? I don't know where these questions come from. Well, Krishna had 16,108 wives. And the main ones were Rukmini and Satyabhama and who else? Satya, Jambavati, Mitra, and anyways, Google it, Bharat Kshir Sagar. You can find that out from Google. And you can also read the Krishna book. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada wrote a really nice book called Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's all of Krishna's pastimes from birth, from before his appearance in this world, all the way to the end of the Dwarka Leela. And in Dwarka Leela, you get to hear about all of his wives, how he married them, how he interacted with them, their loving, affectionate dealings, and of course, their names. So that would be a nice research for you. Okay, we are going to end here. And see you tomorrow with Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hare Krishna.